Oh, how dare you, Damian. You son of a... Welcome to the 6th edition of the Ultimate Fight Simulator, where I will be simulating and previewing upcoming fights in a Game of 3 series to determine my prediction for the real fight. And we're doing the co-main event of UFC 214, the welterweight title fight. Tyron Woodley defends his UFC welterweight title against Demian Maia as Demian Maia enters the octagon, who is on a 7-fight winning streak and the number one welterweight in the world. Taking on Tyron Woodley, the reigning, defending UFC welterweight champion, coming off a successful title defense over Stephen Thompson in the rematch. And we'll go to the tail of the tape. Tyron Woodley, who's actually 35 right now, taking on Demian Maia, who's 40 years old. Demian Maia has the height advantage, but other than that, in the words of Mike Goldberg, everything is virtually identical. Here we go. Pretty interesting match. Wrestler versus jiu-jitsu. Obviously, the striking advantage will go to Tyron Woodley. Jiu-jitsu will go to Demian Maia. Or even the entire grappling portion in general. But Tyron Woodley has what it takes to keep the fight up for as long as he wants. Unless Demian Maia somehow takes Tyron Woodley down. Demian Maia coming off the split decision win over Jorge Masvidal at UFC 211 this past May. Yeah, in May in Dallas. He is on a 7-fight winning streak. And he's 10-2 as a welterweight, taking on Tyron Woodley, who is on a 5-fight unbeaten streak. Other than the draw with the first fight with Stephen Thompson, he's been winning. Fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri, but spends some of his time at American Top Team in Florida and in Milwaukee, training with Duke Rufus and the Rufus Sport crew. He seems like he likes to keep it different. And as you saw in the beginning of the video, if you put money on Demian, thinking that Demian Maia would turn his back on Tyron Woodley, disrespecting him, you'd win a lot of money. As Demian Maia avoids the glove touch, and Tyron Woodley just goes back to his corner. Anyways, they touch gloves, as the fight begins, and Tyron Woodley doesn't seem too happy with it as he nearly knocks Demian Maia out. Whoa! But Demian Maia rocks Tyron Woodley with a head kick before Tyron Woodley slams him to the ground. I don't know how Demian Maia's striking is, but seeing him rock Tyron Woodley with a head kick is pretty interesting and probably pretty rare in real life. And he does it again. Maybe it's not that rare after all. We saw how accurate the predictions were for UFC Long Island. Not sure how accurate this is going to be with Demian Maia dominating Tyron Woodley on the feet as Tyron Woodley takes Demian Maia down again. That's going to be pretty accurate. I'm expecting a lot of takedowns from Tyron Woodley. Probably late in the rounds, because I don't think Tyron Woodley wants to spend a lot of time with Demian Maia on the ground, as Demian Maia has his back and Tyron Woodley is stomping his toes. Probably one of the most painful techniques in MMA. Oh, and Tyron Woodley stuffs Demian Maia's takedown and ends up on top. With a minute and a half to go in the first round, going for a submission? No, not happening. I'm expecting a lot of that too. I'm expecting a lot of Tyron Woodley stuffing Demian Maia's takedown attempts. I wouldn't be surprised if Demian Maia, pulls guard a lot just to get the fight to the ground, but look at him. Ends up on top. Maybe he'll want Tyron Woodley to take him down, as that's probably the worst position any fighter could be in, as Demian Maia goes for a choke. There's two positions I wouldn't want to be in. Demian Maia's mount and being against the cage with Francis Ngannou coming after you, or any other heavy-handed fighter, as the round comes to an end. Round 2 brought to you by Brittany Palmer. Round 1, I'd score that at 10-9 for Demian Maia for the challenger, as Tyron Woodley drops Demian Maia with a head kick and follows it with an axe kick. Oh, rocks him with an uppercut. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is that it? It is all over. Tyron Woodley knocks out Demian Maia. My goodness. That's a scary man right there. People talk about his wrestling, but if you get punched by this man, it's lights out. If he hits you in the right spot, it's lights out. One of the most heavy-handed fighters in the welterweight division. He's got some scary knockout power. As for the first fight, Tyron Woodley retains his UFC welterweight championship. And still UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley, the chosen one, wins the first fight of the series 1-0. I said TKO, but it's KO. And I didn't want to remake the photo. Anyways, second fight. I wouldn't want to get kicked by Tyron Woodley either with those fire hydrants he has for legs. Or stumps. I wonder what Demian Maia's game plan is going to be. I know he wants to take it down, but the question is how. Tyron Woodley's the best wrestler in the welterweight division. Demian Maia says otherwise. Taken to the ground, ends up in mount. I'd have to think that Demian Maia is going to pull guard just to get the fight to the ground and look for a way to sweep, as Demian Maia goes for a triangle armbar. That's not going to happen, especially against a guy like Tyron Woodley. The guy's so explosive. Maybe in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, but not in the first round. Tyron Woodley brings the fight back to his feet. Demian Maia rocks Tyron Woodley with a knee from the clinch. That is the 3rd time Demian Maia has rocked Tyron Woodley. What are the odds of that? That's incredible. I hope Demian Maia worked on his striking. He only has 3 knockouts on his record. And one was his second fight in the UFC, I believe. Oh, no, it wasn't. Last time he knocked... the last time he knocked someone out, it was a TKO. It was to Dong Young Kim. I remember that fight quite vividly. UFC 148. He slammed DHK. And stun gun just... His rib, it was a muscle spasm. As Demian Maia goes for a inverted triangle. Look at that. Demian Maia has 2 triangle chokes on his record. And if he... Oh my goodness. He might have a 3rd triangle choke on his record if he does that to Tyron Woodley as he wins the second fight. My goodness, how slick is Demian Maia? Even in video games. That's unbelievable. Demian Maia, a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The best to ever do it in MMA. Better than Royce Gracie. Better than any other Gracie. Better than... Demian Maia is the best when it comes to MMA Jiu-Jitsu. As the second fight says that he will be the new UFC welterweight champion. Series tied at 1. He looks great with a belt. But we'll see if he gets the real prediction as the rubber match takes place. Fight number 3, the final fight, as Demian Maia drops Tyron Woodley with a leg kick, and well, there's one way to get it on the ground. If Demian Maia catches Tyron Woodley slipping, Demian Maia will be all over that. Demian Maia, is he going for the inverted triangle again? In this position, he could possibly do it, right? Oh, but he ends up north-south. as Tyron Woodley ends up on top. Tyron Woodley is so strong. The guy's a machine out there. He fought for Strikeforce. There's a few Strikeforce fighters on here. There's Daniel Cormier, Cyborg, Robbie Lawler. This is the Strikeforce fraternity is taking over UFC 214 as Demian Maia goes for a choke. Yeah, those are the only Strikeforce fighters I know that are on the card. Demian Maia in mount. Not a good position for the chosen one. Once again in mount. As he goes for an armbar. But Demian Maia, or Tyron Woodley, escapes. How many submission losses? I don't think he has submission losses at all. He's only been finished once, and that was a knockout. That was his last fight on Strikeforce. When he challenged for the vacant Strikeforce welterweight championship, he got knocked out by Nate Marquardt in the 4th round. But those days of being just a wrestler are over. Tyron Woodley is very well-rounded, one of the most well-rounded in the game. Well, we haven't seen his submission game just yet, but his knockout power, his wrestling, he's pretty much the total package. He just hasn't shown his submission game just yet. As Demian Maia is just pounding Tyron Woodley on the ground. Demian Maia really only has one martial art, but he's the best at it. So why change, right? Why why work on your striking when you're the best in jiu-jitsu? He's probably working on his striking. I'm sure he is. Fighting a guy like Tyron Woodley. Oh, Demian Maia stuffs Tyron Woodley's takedown. I think that was the second time we've seen that. As he gets the mount with 10 seconds left on the clock. Getting some shots in. Oh, elbows. Oh. The computer likes to hesitate a lot. I would have finished that if I was controlling Maia, but I'm not. Not controlling anyone. Brittany Palmer bringing you round 2 of the 3rd fight. The game likes to even the striking between the fighters, but in reality, Tyron Woodley definitely has the striking advantage heading into UFC 214. I don't know who Demian Maia works with when it comes to his striking, but Tyron Woodley works with Rufus Sport, and that's already a win. That's already a win itself, as he goes for a head kick. I'd love to see Tyron Woodley win with a head kick, but Demian Maia not giving me a chance of doing that, as he takes Tyron Woodley down and goes for another armbar. It's funny, Jake Shields holds wins over both the UFC champion and the top welterweight in the world. That's absolutely insane. Oh, he's got him. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Knock this guy out. And that's it. What are the odds of that? Demian Maia bouncing back after losing the first fight to submit him in the first round of the second fight, and knocks him out in the second fight. In the third fight in the second round. So that's it. That's the series. Don't forget to like this video, comment on who you think will win at UFC 214, and subscribe to the channel. I need the subscribers. It would be greatly appreciated if you guys can help out. But my prediction: two knockouts in the series, 2 second round finishes. I gotta go with the unpredictable Demian Maia second round TKO. There it is. See you guys tomorrow.